As we know, there's been a lot of changes in our community in the last couple months. New superintendent, new school board members, a new mayor, and every single one of them are working on improving our community to make it the best that it can be. And we're really excited about some of the direction that they have already talked about. The mayor's 100-day plan is going to be coming out very soon, that we're really excited to see once that is unveiled. But we wanted to have some of our key community leaders that are involved in the education sector here today to talk to you about what they're leading and what they're wanting to propose here in our community and the work that they're doing to improve the lives of our kids learning each and every day. So without further ado, I will turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Cristina Gonzalez-Acala, who will run today's program.
All right, thank you, John. Round of applause for John, please. There's always so much synergy within our team that everything I had prepared for you, John already covered. So we'll go a different route. And I actually just wanted to get get a little bit of a sense of who joined us in today for the sake of our speakers, really. So being that this is usually attended by a lot of our nonprofit leaders, I kind of wanted to see where we stand in that space. So can I have everybody stand up, please, and we'll go from there, if you're able to. Please join me standing up. All right, so if you are an out-of-school time network provider, right, or somebody that is providing services to children after school or in school, please stay standing, everybody sit down. If your organization has been here for over 3 years, please sit down. For under 3 years, I'm sorry, under 3 years, my bad, that is my bad. You know that I did this like 2 minutes ago when I thought about this, so that's what we get. If your organization has been longer than 5 years, please keep standing, everybody will sit down. Longer than 10 years. Longer than 15 years.
Part of the grant or just the organization?
The organization itself. I know, right? Do you want me to skip to 25? Have you been here longer than 25 years? Longer than 50 years? Longer than 75 years? All right, 100 years or more? All right, well, oh, we lost a few. Girl Scouts, I love you. So, well, here, tell us who you're with.
Akron YMCA,
Yes.
Junior Achievement.
And?
Salvation Army celebrating 140 years.
All right, give it up to Junior Achievement, Akron YMCA, and Junior Achievement of North Central Ohio. And, oh, yes?
Richelle Council Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, there we go. And Girl Scouts were up here, and then we had Diversity Center, right? So, as you can see here, we have a great community that has been looking out for our children, for our future, for over 100 years. And we have had a lot of newer organizations come up and have joined into the passion and the work of our community to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to ensure that our students are achieving not only their educational outcomes, but as many of you know, that there's somebody there in their corner telling them that they're believing in them, that they were going to help them get to where their potential might take them, right? Which is the most important thing. Sometimes educational outcomes don't tell us the full story, and I know you all know about that, and I know that, and I want you to know that I see that, and I always celebrate that. So thank you all for your services, and thank you for being here joining us. We have a great panel, and so I'm going to get them started in introducing themselves. We're going to be talking about innovation in local education. And I think you have here great information that you'll be able to take with you, and as always, act on it. So, we'll start here.
Richelle was first. I'm introducing, I'm sorry. Hi, Marcie Ebright, Director, College and Career Academies. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Good afternoon, Tecca, Executive Director of Youth Success Summit.
Hi, good afternoon. Dr. Rebecca Tolson, the new director of the Center for Structured Literacy at the University of Akron.
Hi everyone, John, Christina, thanks so much for having me. For those of you that this makes sense to, it's so good to be back in Akron. I've missed you very much. I'm Richelle, Wardell. I'm the Education and Health Strategist for Mayor Shamus Malik and the City of Akron.
Well, thank you so much. And if anybody wants to see their bios, that's what the QR code is there for. We'll have it in a couple of the slides. Their emails are also on there, so feel free to grab a phone and scan that. All right, we'll turn it over to Rachel.
All right, I get to go first. That's great. Well, thank you all for allowing me to share a little bit of updates on the progress we've made with the Youth Success Summit. So before I start sharing, what I would really love for you to do is take a minute to yourself and think about an out-of-school time or an after-school experience that really defined you or helped you grow into the person you are right now. Right? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. All right, share with a neighbor. Share with a neighbor that one major kind of experience you had that defined you or helped you become the person you are. Opportunity to share out that kind of one defining moment or one experience. What I really wanted you to get to was the enormous impact that out-of-school and summer experiences are for all of us, right? You know, I actually did this activity at another location, and some man shared that he spent a summer on a dude ranch in Wyoming, and it was, I was like, well, that's kind of extreme right there, right? But we all have those moments that really have that shaped us to become the people we are today. And that's what the Youth Success Summit is really all about, right? It's about building those equitable experiences for our youth and our community, and so that they get to pursue their passions and their areas of interest, so that they can become great adults like all of you. Why do we need an out-of-school time network? There are some really good statistics that are listed on that slide, right? I think for me, historically, my career has been spent in public education. And when I saw the statistic that children spend 80% of their waking hours outside of the school day, right? That was a huge kind of eye-opening moment for me to say, listen, there's a lot of untapped potential for us to really help shape our kids and give them great experiences to help them grow and achieve. The other statistics listed, right, really talk about its prime time for juvenile crime is between 2 and 6 p.m. And what are our kids doing to keep themselves engaged in productive, safe activities during that time? There's another staggering kind of statistic that's on the screen that really speaks to the increase in violence that we've seen within our community, right? Before 2019, we had one youth under the age of 18 die from gun violence, and since then we've seen such a significant increase, right? So the why behind we need this expanded opportunity for our kids to stay safe, pursue their passions, and really become the youth that we all know that they can be. This whole idea that it's untapped an opportunity for us as a community to wrap our arms around our kids at, and that 2 to 6 space, and in the summer, I just think it's an opportunity for us unlike any other we've had in the last 10 years. So here's the mission of Youth Success Summit. We've been in design for about 1.5 years. We do not officially launch until July of this year, but we've had a nice little soft opening. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds if you wouldn't mind taking a read of the mission statement. Right? So there's words that really stick out that we kind of want to emphasize. This idea of equity, of galvanizing the entire community. Really, the buckets at the bottom really talk about having cutting edge experiences for our kids. That's the innovation and that's expansion that we've been fortunate enough to really capitalize on from the great work that the Summit Education Initiative has done to set the foundation for the out-of-school time space. We are grateful for that opportunity, and our intention is to kind of take it to the next level and expand opportunities for not only our providers, but for our kids. So when we think about opportunities for youth in that out-of-school time space, right, most of the time we've lived in that academic arts and culture kind of space, right? Thinking about camp in the summer, thinking about academic interventions. We're doing all of that, but we're also starting to look at how do we expand equitable opportunity for kids in that sports and wellness space, right? How do we really expand the opportunities to be college and career ready in that after school space? So the Youth Success Summit will be looking at all three of those buckets and looking at expanding opportunities for our kids across the city. So I really like this slide because I think it makes it succinct. What we do at Youth Success Summit is really about being a support for out-of-school time providers. We actually launched our very first professional learning series this morning. We had about 15 of our out-of-school time providers sign up, and we did our first session today. Thanks to the Vincent House for being in our inaugural class. Thank you, Vincent House. Really good start to that, but really our idea is to make sure that we're providing whatever supports out-of-school time providers need, because our job is to make them the best that they can be for our kids. The second component is really looking at family engagement. How do we connect our families to opportunities? Where are out-of-school time providers at, and how do they know how to get there, right? We will have our soft launch of our family website tomorrow. I know, very excited. Our domain will be the youthsuccesssummit.org. And the intention is to be able to connect our families to all of the outstanding programs that are available to them. So that'll launch tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. And then third is the systems builder piece. We're really trying to connect our community and connect each other to just build systems and structures that support this work. Talked about the professional learning series. We're offering program design this semester, youth engagement, and fund development. And then from our session today, I think the group came up with about 5 more topics that we'll get ready for next fall. And then I talked a little bit about our website. I really wanted to recognize all of the partners who have been fundamental in standing up this new expanded network, right? So the Akron Community Foundation, thank you so much. The GAR Foundation, thank you so much. Summit Education Initiative, the City of Akron, and Akron Public Schools have all been kind of those founding partners to really take this to the next level. And we're really excited to see what it's going to do for our community and for our kids. So thank you.
All right, round of applause for Rachel, and we'll take questions after everybody has presented.
All right, thank you, Rachel. I'm so excited about this work. I mean, it's just the right thing for our community and kids and just all of you and your involvement. If I haven't met you before, I am Marcie Ebright. I'm Director of College and Career Academies for Akron Public Schools. And some mighty big shoes I had to fill before I took that position, and this woman right here. As the prior director, I brought a couple documents that were put on your chairs, if you wouldn't mind grabbing those, because we're heading into College and Career Academy transformation work and the way that we re-envision schools. So the way that kids experience schools, the way that they engage in the community, and the way that their learning and teaching is taking place in the classroom has been those big transformational strands that we've been looking at for several years now, right? And excuse me, The high school transformation work, many of you have been very active in that work. We're all active in that work because the celebrations that we're going to look at here shortly are because of all of you and everybody in this community that cares about kids. So we are heading into the 2018 was the wall-to-wall rollout. So that means that we've had 6 years of college and career academies. We've completed that first year of master planning. All of that's implemented. And we've had 2 graduating classes. Sometimes we say 6 years of college and career academies and we think, oh, that means it's been 6 years out. But it's really been 2 graduating classes that went fully through the college and career academy experience at this point. We're halfway through the middle school college and career academy work. That means that we've been rolling out the engagement strategies, the teaching and learning, and the student experiences for our middle school college and career academies and the ways that they engage with nonprofits in our community. Thanks so much to the Akron Community Foundation for the work that they do and support us in that. And then we are on the cusp of announcing the elementary designation for college and career academies. This will make us in Akron the first K-12 designated college and career academy district in the country. Yes, super exciting. That means all that sort of focus on how kids experience school and those engagements in the community are there and guaranteed for every single kid as we move forward. And it can only help build that foundation better, right? We knew we moved into middle schools because we felt kids needed a longer runway to prepare. We've done so much work on building up the type of agency and voice that students have to be better prepared for their freshman year. And our elementary schools haven't been waiting for us. They've been doing stuff and doing leadership programs and ambassador programs and using the portrait of an elementary scholar routinely with their kids so that they're better prepared for middle school. And it's just so exciting to watch it all come to life. I say all that because I want you to take a second look at this achievement stock if you haven't yet. And this is my interactive portion, Ms. Tecca. But there's 2 sides, and with a shoulder buddy, I want you to kind of look at it and just pick out a topic, one of our achievements from last year. Now, this is the graduating class of 2023, and we're going to produce one of these each year, just to sort of the high-level achievements of what those kids have done. And I just want you to, share like what stood out to you, to your shoulder buddy. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. It is 2 sides. All right, hopefully you were able to find something. Anybody want to share a couple quick share outs? What stood out to you? Something big. Graduation rates. Outstanding, thank you. Huge, huge. If you look at those graduation rates, I want you to go home today. I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to go home today and I want you to look up graduation rates for Cleveland and Columbus and Cincinnati and Youngstown. I want you to go and look, and then I want you to look at our graduation rates. And I want you to email me and tell me what you found. you got a job. Because we're outperforming every large urban. We're outperforming large urbans in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Kentucky, all around us. We are doing amazing work. Thank you. We're doing amazing work there. So many celebrations because when you think about the work we're going to set, our strong foot we're going to put for our elementary age kids and the development in middle school, it's only going to keep growing. We're expecting our next year's graduation rate to be 89%, which I've been here since 1996, and that is the highest I've ever seen it. If you take away anything and you can tell somebody else that we are graduating in Akron Public Schools more students than ever before that are better prepared for life beyond high school. And you see all those statistics on there. They're earning credentials, they're earning college credits, there are all kinds of engagements in the communities. We have work-based learning, they're doing all kinds of hours and really getting those experiences that get them prepared. So super exciting stuff. I do want to call out North High School because they were our pilot high school, also led by Miss Richelle Tecca, right? Okay, our pilot high school. Their original graduation and college and career academies when they started, before that, 64%. 64%. Their graduation rate will be 89%. That's a 25% gain, guys. That's huge, huge. And it's not just Akron Public Schools. When I say it's all of you, right, that are making these things happen for kids too. So it's our community celebration. So the second part of what I'm supposed to be talking about, but I wanted to set that stage because the exciting things that we're doing here in Akron have caught the attention of districts all around the country. We're part of the Ford Next Generation Learning Network, and they were the organization that brought us the model for how we can structure the systems to make this transformation work happen, and helped us through our master planning, implementation, coaching cycles, and all those different things. So they've been instrumental in this work, and they also have a network of other schools around the world, really, that they support in their transformation work. We were chosen now twice as the site for the entire network to come visit. So that's what Akron in Action is in a nutshell, is the entire network of them have been invited. We did this once before, we had about 200 come. Then we upped it this time, so we're expecting 300 guests. They're coming from as far away as, I wrote down a few before I came here. We got people from North Carolina, we got people coming from Alaska, we got people coming from Oklahoma, Maryland, Tulsa, that's Texas, right? So, where's Tulsa? But yeah, anyway, they're coming from Tulsa. And so we got people coming from all over here to Akron to see our kids, and they're gonna spend 3 days here. We have the first evening and opening sort of a reception for them to come in. Also coming with this group is the Carnegie Foundation, who have been our thought partners a lot around what's happening with our middle school academies as we're growing that agency and voice work. So they're setting a contingency to come see our schools. We're going to welcome to an opening session over at House 330. We chose House 330 as this really kind of cool reclaimed space in Akron, this community space that made a lot of sense for an opening session for them. And then the next day, all of them are going to sort of invade our schools. We have site visits all over the cities at our high schools and our middle schools and our community partners that will welcome smaller groups of them to meet with the people that are running this work day to day, ask questions and dig into it, and then be able to come back with their team, school leaders, to sit down and say, what did we learn today? What do we need to know more about? And then the final day of Akron in Action, we take them all over to the University of Akron, where they do some breakout sessions there, and they're going to have chances to hear from different leaders around this work and different topics to just sort of dig into, ask questions, and learn some more. So we are the site study visit for them to take the practices that we're doing here and go back. We also have lots of opportunities where they share back with us things that they're doing. So it's a two-way communication, so we get a lot of expertise from people who are living and doing and trying to do the same type of work for their communities, and they're able to bring that feedback to us. So we're super excited about what's going on with college and career academies, what's going on with Akron Public Schools in general, what's going on with this community, and super excited that we're able to showcase all of your hard work to all of these people. So that's it. Thank you. I do know where Tulsa is. I just had
So what I'm going to do as my opener is I would like you to share a learning to read experience with your shoulder partner. Something you remember about learning to read. Give you 30 seconds. Okay, so did anybody recall Dick and Jane books? I heard that. Like, yeah, that was my experience. So, the Center for Structured Literacy at the University of Akron. Very excited to share that we received 2 grants for this center. And I wanted to give you a little overview, then I'm going to give you a little lecture about what structured literacy is and the science of reading. So the grant was to develop an accredited center for training teachers in structured literacy. And the accreditation is going to come from the International Dyslexia Association, which is aligned to the knowledge and practice standards for teachers of reading. Not just teachers of reading for students with dyslexia, but all teachers. All teachers need to know and be able to deliver instruction to all students, because all teachers are reading teachers, even our content area teachers. So at the University of Akron, the coursework is we are going to, as a faculty, the first phase in the first grant was to train the faculty and get them up to speed based on the new research. Now, University of Akron, I have to tell you, they received from the National Center for Teacher Quality, the review that went out, they received an A on teaching the science of reading. So that's, I mean, I am so thrilled. We have a lot of great things to work with, but what we're going to do is we're going to also have pre-service teachers, so when they get their bachelor's degree, they are also going to come out with the coursework and practicum, which is that practical application in the classroom, which will happen here in Akron Public Schools, with as a structured literacy interventionist from the Center for Effective Reading Instruction. That certification is required for every district in Ohio from the dyslexia laws. So I'm the current chair of the Ohio Dyslexia Committee. Districts are asking for that. Instead of having to train them after they are hired, they're going to come out with that certification. So it is a win-win for everyone, and especially the teachers, because it is not, trust me, personal experience. Back in the day, I've been a teacher for 33 years. I did not know how to teach struggling readers when I was a 5th grade teacher. I had to go and figure that out. I had to take classes. That wasn't a good experience to sit across from a struggling reader and say, I'm not sure what to do with you. Right? Well, how do I help you learn to read? I did that, and after that first class, I was hooked. I'm like, this is how we need to teach all children to read in a structured, explicit way. So here's what I'm going to do. So that grant is in the works. We are training faculty, and that's going to be rolled out later this year. Fall of this year, the first class will go through that coursework and be able to be certified, dual certified, basically. So a couple things points I want to make today. The governor put out the Ohio is behind the science of reading, and the Ohio Department of Ed is behind the science of reading. What is the science of reading, right? This is what it is. The Reading League is a national nonprofit, and they came out with a defining guide to say what it is and what it isn't. So the science of reading is a vast interdisciplinary body of scientifically based research. 5 decades of research on literacy, reading, writing, spelling. Thousands of studies are involved in that research, and the preponderance of evidence that informs our practice, reading, writing, spelling, how we teach it, how children learn to read, write, and spell. So the whole focus is improve student outcomes. But we not only want to prevent student failure, we also at the center are about preventing teacher failure. We want to empower teachers with the knowledge and skills and practice that they can hit the classroom knowing how to teach all children to read. All children, English learners, children from various backgrounds, children with reading disabilities. So a couple more facts that I want you to leave with today. First of all, that interdisciplinary body of research comes from all of these different fields. And what we used to do is work in silos. Special education was here, psychology and research was here, and we have all of these that never really amalgamated and came together to say, here's what we know all about reading and literacy. So we want that to know those disciplines. Here's what science of reading is not. It is not a philosophy or ideology. It's not how I feel reading should be taught, it's a science. So when a teacher says, well, this is how I feel my kids are learning, it's not about a belief system. It's a science teaching reading, and we're here to teach the science. It is not a trend or a fad or a pendulum swing. This is when we taught phonics, and this is when we taught whole language. That's not what science of reading is about. It is not a political agenda. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach, and it is not a specific program of instruction or element or component of instruction like phonics. So if you hear someone say science of reading is all about phonics, that is totally incorrect. So now you can correct them and say, no, it's not, right? So this is what informs. You have to understand, in order to be included as informing in science, it has to be a rigorous study that's experimental or quasi-experimental. It has to be peer-reviewed in a peer-reviewed journal. It has to have the elements of the methods for a rigorous study. So any study that doesn't meet that isn't included and does not inform what we do in teaching reading. And then I wanted to quickly mention the prevalence. So I talked about children that have intensive needs. Children with dyslexia or reading disabilities, that's about 10 to 15% of kids. But 5% of kids read naturally. Any program, any teacher, they just read. They learn to read, their brain is wired to learn to read. 35% read pretty easily, but still need instruction. They still need to be taught. 45 to 50% of our students need explicit, systematic instruction. 45 to 50%. So we're not talking about just a few kids. We are talking about the majority of our kids need explicit instruction. So, real quickly, science informs how the brain learns to read. And Stanislas Dehaene, he's a French researcher, he puts out the areas that are activated in the brain when it reads. So when I say the teaching reading is a science, we are informed through fMRIs of reading brains while they're reading. And I wanted to show you a typical reading brain. Kids need to learn letters, kids need to learn sounds, kids need to have meaning attached to print, and it has all these elements, and it's like a concert. All of these parts of the brain working in concert. But a child that struggles, and this comes from the Shawitzes out of Yale, the Center for Dyslexia. A child with dyslexia, their brain does not process in the same areas. So it is neurobiological. It's not that these kids that struggle are not trying to read. They're trying really, really hard, which is why you see the green area enlarged. They're trying in the frontal lobe. So the brain circuitry, we don't have to guess. We know how the brain learns to read, and we know how to teach a child to read. So until every child can read on grade level, we won't sleep. We will continue to empower teachers with knowledge and skill. So this is where some of our science originates. In the mid-1980s, Goff and Tunmer published a study called The Simple View of Reading. And in the simple view of reading, there are two domains. They have to learn how to recognize the words, and they have to have oral language comprehension to achieve reading comprehension. The next body of evidence we have is the National Reading Panel. Since the year 2000, these are the a meta-analysis of the big 5 components to teaching reading. So we're not guessing what we do. And then Scarborough, Dr. Scarborough, created this infographic on, it's called the Scarborough's Reading Rope. What are the components of those two domains? And you see it's woven together to create skilled readers. All of those components are woven together. So the windows of opportunity are preventative. Yeah, we can diagnose and treat later, but it's so much more expensive and labor intensive. Preventative model means fewer negative consequences, and here I'm talking about social emotional. If you have ever taught, and boy oh boy, I was in high school, middle school and high school teaching kids to read on a first grade level, and it's painful, mostly for them. So if we can find them young, and we do know through very quick screeners how to find them, we can prevent early reading failure. And it is more cost effective. So I know I'm going too long. I could talk all day. I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to wrap up here. Where does structured literacy come in? Now that we know what the science of reading is, structured literacy is an umbrella term about teaching the structure of the language. Structured literacy, structured language. And it is supported by research. So systematic, explicit, and cumulative and intensive instruction in the language. So here are the components, and I want you all to know that structured literacy on the left is what we teach. And if you see phonics, it's one of many language components. Structured literacy has all of the domains that a child needs to be successful with print. Reading, writing, spelling, speaking. On the right is the delivery method. And that's the delivery method into the classroom to the student. So when a teacher teaches, it needs to be multimodal, it needs to be structured, which is a scope and sequence of the language, simple to complex. Cumulative, explicit. Analytic and synthetic is part to whole to part. So we kind of break it down, and then we see the whole to break it down, and then we put it back together. So encoding and decoding is another term for that. And diagnostic and prescriptive. So we use data to inform what students need in structured literacy. And that data is daily, it is weekly, and it is sometimes 3 or 4 times a year to make sure our kids are on track and we're not losing them in any way, shape, or form. So I am going to pass it on, thank you, and I look forward to any questions you may have. Oh, one thing, Maja Trammell is here. Maja, if you want to stand up. She is part of the Center for Structured Literacy, and I would be amiss if I didn't recognize her because we get to work together on this project, and I'm so thrilled. So thank you, Maja.
You guys, these educators, they blow me away with how hard and how thoughtful they ensure that our kids are going to be off to a good start. So thank you guys. And I want you to know, and I'm here to tell you guys, that we have a friend at City Hall. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Mayor Malik's Learning Together plan. Essentially, there are, I'm fumbling through my notes here, there are 3 main priorities to Mayor Malik's plan, and those are these: enabling broader access to quality preschool, unleashing the full potential of the community learning centers, and elevating our higher ed institutions for wide prosperity. I also want to tell you that as a favor to my fellow introverts, I'm not going to have you lean over and talk to your neighbor. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So Mayor Malik is on a mission to provide broader access to quality preschool, recognizing its pivotal role in shaping positive outcomes. Good quality. Don't ever talk about preschool without quality in front of it, please. Good quality early childhood education not only improves social, emotional learning and literacy, but it also addresses parental employment constraints. So remember this: investing in early childhood helps both the workforce of today and the workforce of tomorrow. Unfortunately for many, a quality pre-K experience is out of reach. So Mayor Malik is dedicated to boosting a coordinated effort that exists in our community to make pre-K a reality for more children in our community, underscoring both its moral and economic significance. The second thing is to fulfill the promise of our community learning centers. Our plan envisions transforming CLCs into the vibrant neighborhood hubs they were intended to be, beyond school hours. Despite challenges like insurance and staffing and whatever other excuse we want to make, we pledge to collaborate with Akron Public Schools to turn CLCs into comprehensive community centers as they were intended. Picture this: after-school programs, mentoring, summer job opportunities, health services, legal clinics, adult education, all under one roof, seamlessly and in a manner that we are all doing it together for the betterment of our community. So lastly, in this Learning Together plan is to lift up higher ed institutions for economic growth. The mayor recognizes the pivotal role that the University of Akron and Stark State have in propelling our economic growth. His plan involves strengthening our ties with these institutions, creating safe and inviting places for the students, and a seamless transition between Akron Public Schools, Stark State, University of Akron. And we want to facilitate this and make it a priority and part of our economic development strategy. We're excited. We're particularly excited about the momentum that's behind this structured literacy center, and we intend to be a great partner in it. So all of this, in my view, is visionary alignment for citywide impact. Mayor Malik envisions a united front for Akron, bringing together initiatives that have been brewing in silos, often very narrow silos. And the city will champion each initiative as part of one collective push to improve educational outcomes. The synergy is obvious, right? Expanded preschool aligns with structured literacy. Accessible CLCs will complement the efforts of YSS and all of its partners. And the city's Academy of Community Health and Safety at Ellett, with UA as the sister educational partner, it helps to solidify that pipeline to successful student success. I could say success like six more times just to come on. So anyhow, this holistic approach ensures that all FASTs work in tandem, lifting up all boats right? Knowing that together for Akron, we can create a future where the whole community thrives.
Yeah, no click for the, I think. I don't know if it matters or not. Well, thank you all so very much. This is all great information. Oh, too far. And I do have some questions. I know you'll have quite a few of yourselves, so let me get a couple in. Richelle, back to you. You're talking a little bit about all the synergy of all the efforts. What do you think will be different with Mayor Smalek Learning Together structure? What would be the main differential between what he will be doing and what has been done in the past?
You're putting me on the spot.
Absolutely.
Christina and I have history. So, what we're noticing in just 31 days on the job is that, like I said, all of these initiatives that have so much power and so much thought and so much passion behind them are kind of operating as though they are separate, as though YSS and expanded preschool have different goals and need different people working on them. That's just not the case. Like, we're all working on the same thing in this community that is known for collaborating. And so what I think, to answer your question quite bluntly, is that what the mayor wants to see is that everyone's at the table, that needs to be at the table to move these things forward and move them quickly.
Amazing, thanks for that. Rachel, what will it look like when YSS is firing at all cylinders?
So YSS, short for Youth Success Summit, it will be 100% of students are engaged in whatever their interest and passion is every day after school, with equitable access. No matter what their interest is, there's got to be something in their community that meets their needs.
Okay. And hanging on that, Dr. Tolson, how can we see students be better supported from what you've shared from our future teachers getting support from the Center for Structured Literacy?
The initiative is ongoing. Once they graduate, we are here to support them through mentoring, feedback, and support and coaching. Also, the center is going to be doing summer institutes to continue their learning, webinars. So, I mean, it's a journey of learning for teachers. And so we're here as a center to support that learning and to give the latest and greatest on what we know about teaching reading, because that science is continually evolving. I was listening to, I'm always listening to a podcast, and on the way here I was listening about, they used to say you taught phonological awareness with just sounds. Now they're saying as soon as you can introduce letters, add letters to that. So it's a timing thing. So we don't want to waste time. Teachers can't waste time. So to know that I should be introducing that sooner saves time, and it helps our kids move forward faster. So those are the kinds of things we need to deliver, that latest and greatest on research through the center.
This question goes back to the audience. Darren or Dr. James? What is SCI's goal for percentage of students graduating high school for Summit County?
So, thank you. Right now, we're in the middle of a strategic plan, and as we looked across the county, we have seen decreases in a lot of the metrics that we like to apply countywide, regardless of whether it's kindergarten readiness, third grade reading, high school graduation. So right now, we're looking to reevaluate that, because we have different organizations. Sometimes they have different metrics that they're measuring, like United Way and Bold Goals. So after we have those conversations with our partners, we'll be coming out with some new metrics, I think, for the county. And in addition, we're also looking at what are some of the other factors that impact that, because everyone in this room can attest to some of the social emotional issues that kids have. Well, they have a direct impact on whether a kid is ready for kindergarten, whether they're going to be able to read at 3rd grade, 8th grade math, 9th grade credits and GPA, you know, and all the way through, even into the post-secondary world. So there'll be more about that shortly.
Sounds good. And I was just remembering, because I'm pretty sure that 89% will exceed the goals that we had established back then on where we wanted Summit County to be for graduation. So while the county might not be pulling that full 89, Marcie, though, for Akron, yes, you're pulling the chair, which we appreciate. How then, you know, being that we're in Akron, we're hearing the narrative about Akron. I mean, I know we're Summit County, but help us help Akron in changing the narrative, in sharing these stories of success. What do we need to do? What does this room need to change that narrative?
And that's a really great question, because we always get into the marketing, communication debate, and it always feels like, well, the schools need to be telling their story better, but we need each of you to tell that story with us. So, you know, like this paper was designed with that idea in mind, that you would have something to reference when someone says, oh, they're not graduating the kids, oh, this isn't happening. You know, at the end of the day, as my panel colleagues were talking, I kept thinking about the kids' rise to opportunities that we provide them. All of this work with the out-of-school time network, the literacy work, the work that our new mayor and his team are trying to put together, the college and career academy work, all the work that you do is about those opportunities. And the more we provide them, kids keep rising to it. We know that the need's there, and then they rise to it. We said we're going to get this graduation rate. We're going to set the systems and structures that kids are finishing high school in 4 years, and the kids are rising to it. The credentialing numbers, kids graduating, more than half of the graduating class graduated with a 12-point industry credential in their pocket, which is amazing. Prior to 2018, it was 39. Okay, so the massive amount of increase that we've had and the work that we're doing is because we've given the kids the opportunity, but the kids have done the work. And we got to reinstitute that pride for our students and let the community know just what great kids we do have, because we really do. No.
All right, we'll open it up for the audience, please.
Ladies, thank you. You give us all hope, I think. However, how do you involve the parents? It's one thing to talk about the kids, but unless you get the buy-in from the parents, especially of young kids in particular, you know, this could not be as successful as we need it all to be.
I don't underestimate our parents either. I think that we have an incredibly diverse group of families and mothers and fathers and grandfathers and aunts and uncles that rally behind their child. And if there's an absence of a parent, there's relatives that are stepping in and supporting that. I have seen, as an educator for almost the last 30 years in this school system, I have seen grit and determination that has brought me to tears more than one time, that I have never seen or experienced in the suburb schools that I went to, and the types of things. Our kids come to school every day. Even that kid that will drive somebody nuts comes to school every day. They might not always come prepared. They might not come in with the notebook and the backpack and all of their homework done and their pencil sharpened. But we'll hand them a pencil and we'll give them space to get their work done, because that's the opportunity. I believe our parents are as excited to make sure that their students have access to these opportunities that they may not have and might not have had themselves, and might not know that they didn't have a chance to have them themselves. So we're constantly educating and informing from our lens in Akron Public Schools what that looks like for their student, and try to make sure that they're able to support their student in whatever educational path and journey that they're on. So Sometimes it's a person by person, sometimes it's, as many different ways as we can communicate it, and with your help as well when you're interacting with our community and their family. The last thing any parent wants to feel like is that their kids are attending schools that aren't safe, that aren't caring, that aren't loving. And sometimes that public perception is a hard thing to fight, and we need to help change that narrative, and going back to that piece as well, so that they feel that sense of community. When we ask our parents, how do you feel about your school and your teachers? I love it. I love my school. I love where I send my kids, and I love my teachers, and I love what they're doing with their students. When we ask how they feel about Akron Public Schools as a whole, they're like, eh. But they've got the perception about it as a whole. But you ask individual parents, they will say up and down how much they love their classrooms and their students. So it's there, that belief system is there. We got to allow our parents to have the voice to celebrate it as well.
Well done, Marcie. I would add that I think it's our responsibility to continue to provide structures and supports for our families to be able to support their children. I think our parents are doing the best they can every single day to be good parents to their children. I think that sometimes there's a lot of extenuating circumstances and barriers that they have to overcome that maybe some of us haven't had to overcome. So I think it's collectively us working together to get over those barriers so they can be their best parent for their child too.
So literacy starts in the home, and empowering our families with what to do with that and how to speak to their children and how to give them tools. So here at Helen Arnold, Principal Monica Davis trained all of her staff in structured literacy and did structured literacy parent nights and community nights where the parents could have those resources and tools and take them home and work with their students. So we have the model to empower the parents for literacy. So we just need to replicate that.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that a little bit, and I'm going to look at you, Beth. Beth Kelly from YMCA will tell you, quality preschool means engaging families, and the earlier we start engaging families, the better. And to be a high quality preschool, you have to have a component of parent engagement, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not only parent engagement, but parent trainings.
She said not only parent engagement, but parent trainings around engagement as well. So if we are able to expand our preschool opportunities and even our early childhood experiences like some home visiting programs that do very well in this community, parents as teachers, and Spark kindergarten readiness, supporting partnerships to achieve ready children or something. It's home visiting, and it's you sit down with the parent to help them be their child's first and most important teacher. And just like the private preschools, Head Start also has a very, very intense parent component. So you will hear me, if you come and hear me anymore, I'm going to always say start early, start early, start early.
Anybody else?
Hello, thank you so much. I had two questions for Dr. Tolson, if that's okay. The first question is, with the science of reading approach, how would you approach a student who has like ADHD, like very severely, like you can't even get them to sit down? Like, how does that approach look?
Great question. So I have lots of experience in that, sitting across, the table from children with dyslexia. ADHD is a coexisting condition. It runs alongside other conditions like dyslexia up to 40% of the time. So almost half of the students I had work with over the years had both. And here's the thing. When a teacher is empowered with the knowledge to teach language, the other conditions, you have to address which one's primary. But their main goal, regardless of the other conditions, is to get to the language. Those kids deserve to read, write, and spell, which means when I was trained in structural literacy, they taught me explicitly, with practice, underneath a supervising instructor, how to deal with coexisting conditions like ADHD. So even if they are squirrely and they get distracted, I still had to stick to the plan. And they still had to learn how to read. And that was my training. That's what we need teachers to know. And so that's our goal, is that they know about the coexisting conditions like ADHD. And it can be done, hands down, no question.
Thank you for that. One more question. Okay, so are there any?
Is there any? Do you have any thoughts of possibly training the students the same way you train the teachers? Possibly planting the seed for future employment and academic self-regulation?
Yeah, so I think the research transfers from teacher to student. You're right. I think we all learn in specific ways, and we have to meet the needs of those learning styles. But what we do know is that if we are explicit and systematic with our teaching, direct with immediate feedback. Children need feedback. Teachers need feedback. They need to know, if you're not doing it right, let's correct it right now, so I can learn from it and move on. And so we have all of those elements are applicable. And so when we train, what I want is to empower any student in any school to be what they want to be. And that might mean college, it may mean a career. I worked with an adult who was 40 reading on a 3rd grade reading level, and she had aspirations to be a truck driver. I had to work with her to read enough to pass her test to be what she wanted to be. And she accomplished that. That's what we want for our students. So yeah, it does transfer to aspirations of career.
Thank you for your very enthusiastic presentation of all these initiatives. And I see the generosity of all these foundations that have helped fund these. I'm wondering, however, how the state voucher system, waiver system has affected funding and why some of this isn't coming from public funding.
Yeah, I'm not the funding girl. Yes, it has. I think the dollars funneled from our public schools definitely take a hit. And then we also are still required to do what I call unfunded mandates. You get a lot of things from the state that say, do this, do that, and figure out a way to pay for it. And it creates increased stresses and pressure. So, we do rely heavily when we can on outside funding sources to help really push the innovation work, because sometimes those dollars that you're talking about in the budget are just to keep the foundation, the textbooks, the schools, the teacher salaries, the support staff salary, anything that's just the day-to-day operations. And so when you're talking innovation, sometimes finding the funding lines and supports for that can be the challenge to help bridge that gap, for sure. And I'm not the treasurer, and I'm not speaking on behalf.
Okay, hi, Michelle with Global Ties Akron. I do have a question, but first I want to say kudos to Akron, to our education system, to all of our community organizations. We're not just recognized locally, regionally, nationally, but internationally. And so many of you here have met with groups, and we will be hosting, hopefully sometime later this spring, the Minister of Education and Science for the country of Georgia. And we've had several other very high-level delegations, because we don't just show off everything we're doing right, but we also share the struggles, the challenges, and everything that goes into building everything together as a community. But my question goes to, how are we as part of this whole network using our amazing library system that is also recognized so much when we bring our international groups, because I know that falls into like each and every one of your segments that you're working on. But yeah, just wanted to ask that.
We've been very fortunate to have representation on our visioning team from the Akron library system, and I think that the input, the voice at the table allows us in this design phase of Youth Success Summit to really consider how we maximize our libraries to really provide out-of-school time opportunities for youth. I literally was blown away by the makerspace in the main library. I mean, what a beautiful resource within our community, and that will be something that maybe as part of the network that other out-of-school time providers see as like this great opportunity for us to, at a discounted price, right? Like to get things that help our out-of-school time providers be their best for kids. So they've been a great partner and had a lot of voice at the table for us.
Yeah, for me, it's about community and access. And the best models we have for urban, I know the Brownsville story won the Broad Award in Brownsville, Texas. And that's exactly what they did. They brought, to win that award, and Barbara Bush gave a grant to Brownsville, Texas to do structured literacy. And they, their data was so remarkable that they won this Broad Award, and part of that was they put in their strategic plan that this is how reading is going to be taught in Brownsville, Texas. And the kids that learned how to read, and they brought the library in, they brought communities in, members and businesses, everyone was surrounding this project. And it succeeded. The first grade class who graduated in 2018 when that grant started was the first generation of kids. That class got $1 million for those kids to go to college, and they were college ready. So it can speak volumes when a community comes around.
Thank you so much. Just because of time, and we want to get you out of here at a reasonable time, we could be here all evening asking questions, and that's why we wanted to present these 4 programs that are going to be really instrumental in our community moving us forward. So please thank me in joining our panelists. I can tell you at the foundation we are very hopeful. We're very optimistic. We're very excited that these new innovations in education are being presented to our kids. Those are the ones that are most important. We at Akron Community Foundation are also proud of our partnership with the Akron Public Schools, especially in that middle school space where we feel those are formidable years for those kids in the middle school level. So if you have not met our staff person, Darlene Schuler, Darlene, wave your, please stand up. Darlene is actually an Akron Public School employee, but she's at Akron Community Foundation every day working with the nonprofits in our community to get them involved with the middle school kids. So if you're not a partner with us already, please see Darlene. She'll be happy to talk to you. We look forward to that program expanding and making a really difference in our community. So thank you for joining us. Hope you see you at the next one, which will be our Arts and Culture communication session at the end of April. Stay tuned for details on that, and we appreciate you being here. Have a great evening.